What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is cold. It is really cold. Probably because I don't have a sweater on. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in once again. If you guys haven't seen the last video, be sure to go check it out. It's an ASMR style type of video, and we've done a lot of installation as far as the engine bay and all the suspension components. We were this close to firing the car over, but we still have a ton of things to do before we are ready to do so. And in today's video, we're going to be doing a lot more work under the hood of the wagon, even though it doesn't have a hood. In the last video, we did more doings for the viewing pleasure instead of explaining everything, but right now I want to explain to you guys quickly what all we've done. So from the firewall moving forward, we did all of the heater hoses, the clutch line, the fuel line, we got the feed, the return, we did the turbo manifold, turbo itself, we have the coolant lines ran, the oil line ran, return is installed right here as well too. Moving on to the trans side, we got the cables. We have the heater hoses have wrap on it. I had to do that as well too because everything kind of comes close back here. But we also had the downpipe and dump tube installed, but then I took it off to wrap it up real quick just to kind of help contain the heat under the hood. Kevlar wrap right there on both downpipe and dump tube. And then over here we have all the suspension reinstalled. We cleaned all the suspension components, gave a fresh coat on the spindles, lower control arm, calipers. We have the pads in it. We kind of ran fluid through to make sure nothing was leaking. My buddy Eric spun the rotor for me, looking nice and fresh. And axles, traction bar, all that has been reinstalled. Over here, intake manifold, it was only bolted up with 2 bolts because I had to modify this corner right here for the vacuum line to the booster. Since we're not running the brake boosted delete anymore, this requires a vacuum, which you can see is connected. And I could have used this port, but I think it looked cleaner to kind of have it off the side instead of this 90 and then a vacuum line going on the top. So once I did that, manifold reinstalled, we did the relocation of the regulator because it used to sit over here, and this 90 would actually hit the valve. So I moved it over here, which kind of betters the flow of, you know, fuel coming in. So feed coming in here, and then it just goes out the regulator 90 back to the firewall. And we have all the injectors plugged back up. The map sensor, we have a B series style. I need to get a adapter harness for that, which is on the way. It looks like this right here because we are using a B series throttle body. And everything underneath the manifold is kind of sort of done. And like I mentioned, I kind of did most of the back half stuff and not the front half. So in today's video, we're going to do the front half. It's late, the sun's already kind of setting, and the reason for that is because the spall fan was supposed to show up today and only got 1 package out of the 2, and it is not the fan. So I was realistically waiting for the fan to show up so I can put the radiator back in, which is right there behind me, and then the intercooler, and then make the new charge pipe from the new turbo manifold setup to go down into the intercooler. That was today's goal, to do some fabrication, but I figured we just come out here and make some progress anyways. So let's figure out what's next to do on the list here and get cracking. First thing is first, I'm going to go ahead and clean up this bottom crossbar that my radiator mounts to, so I can get the radiator mounted in, so I know the space we're going to have to make our new charge pipe for the turbo to the intercooler. So I did mention that I wanted to redo this bar, or not this bar, but just the mounting plate because it's so thin. But realistically, once this is bolted down, there's 3 points there, 3 points there. It's pretty sturdy. Obviously, this thing's been on the car for like 5+ years now, and it's hold up great. So I'm just gonna go ahead and scuff it up and just give it a nice coat of black. I'm probably gonna pull these guys off as well too and clean them up since they are dirty on both sides. While the can and the brackets are warming up right now, I'm gonna go ahead and bolt my downpipe and dump tube back in the bay because I have a tendency of just knocking things over and I really don't want to damage this. So let's get this put back in. downpipe and dump tube installed. The wind's starting to pick up for some reason. Kind of weird. Tinkerbell. Heck yeah. Not too shabby, really close to the TPS sensor, but that's how it's always been. And I want to test out the T bracket real quick. This is the original wagon one that we're going to be running because we are going to be needing the latch for the new hood. Oh dang, it's pushing up on the radiator and it's pushing it forward, which then is going to interfere with the TPS sensor. That's not good. What did I do with the other one? This is the one that was on the car with the EF9 front end. Oh, I see what I did here. I folded this to allow the radiator to come more forward, I guess. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. See how the radiator didn't move at all? It's because I folded this lip. You can see how it's sticking out because I don't have a hood latch on here. I ran hood pins on the last hood. So okay, so I've been on a dilemma with switching out the radiator for a Sirocco tuck style, which is the same one that I run on the EF sedan, and it also makes it look cleaner because it sits lower and it kind of like pushes more into the radiator support, and I could you know, have a lot more clearance between the manifold to the radiator, TPS to the radiator, and I might end up doing that. I might end up getting a different style radiator. I'll figure it out in the next couple of days, but as far as right now, it doesn't seem like I needed the radiator in place because I forgot that the radiator is actually modified right here, and I took off a couple of inches, which you can see how it goes all the way, and over here it stops because K series I do have both charge pipe coming right here. So I really didn't need this in place, but I figured I'd just throw it on just to see and make sure. So technically I can put the intercooler on and build my charge pipe. So as far as right now goes, because I'm not certain about what I'm going to do as far as the radiator goes, I'm going to pull this back out. I guess when I did these brackets a long time ago, I never painted it. You guys probably saw that this thing was super duper rusted, but we got it all cleaned up, primered, and flat black on both sides. The intercooler is nice and secured. I'm loving it. So I'm taking a look back here to figure out how I'm gonna route the charge pipe from the turbo to the intercooler, and I might be able to reuse what's already down here, right? And just kind of connect it from here to this coupler. And I could, you know, move this around and figure out the right angles. And I do notice that it does come really close to this shift mechanism right here. So I gotta, like, I don't know, we'll loop it around and then down. We'll figure it out. It's all part of fabrication. So this is where we got to go and brainstorm for a little bit. You guys, check this out. Check this out. Check this out. I haven't welded aluminum in a while. This came out freaking awesome. Loving it. Loving it. Guys, I totally forgot to install grounds on my engine to chassis. And I went digging around and realized that all my grounds are gone. Probably because I took everything to put into my blue sedan. So I had a bunch of stuff lying around, a bunch of cables, and I made some new grounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these installed right now. I did reinstall the charge pipe we just welded earlier, and dude, perfect fit. I'm really loving the way this thing is coming out, dude. I'm excited. I'm very excited. So I have the first ground installed right here on the transmission to the frame, and I just want to make sure that we are having a connection before I move on to the second one. We are good. I removed this ground right here from the chassis. This is the first one. The second ground is right here. I decided to not put it on the valve cover where it normally sat at because we have a bunch of stuff in the way. So I have the ground cable bolted down here on the water pump housing, same spot on the sedan, same spot on the KRX, and it is bolted to the frame rail right there where the factory ground cable bolts to when the battery used to sit right here. So we have the black right here on the terminal on the battery negative, which is terminated on the frame rail, and we're gonna take this and make sure we have connection on the engine itself. So starter bolt, water pump housing bolt, ground cable itself. We are making connection. So this right here is a good contact point. Let's go ahead and just put that one back on and move on to the next thing. Honestly guys, there's not a lot left to do in the engine bay of the wagon other than the cooling system. Now last night I did buy a Sirocco radiator that should be here in the next couple of days. It is the same radiator that we are running in the EF sedan, and you guys saw we drove this car to LA and back. Temperature was freaking great. The highest I got it was about 192 in the daytime, and Amazon just came through. They just dropped off the new Spall fan we're going to be running. Again, same one we are running in the sedan. This is a 12-inch fan that draws about almost 1300 CFM. This is the part number right there. If you guys are turbo, this is the fan to run. I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones, but I've always had great results with this. I know the last video was the New Year / recap video, although it was kind of delayed. Right now, currently, it is December 31st. Guys, in a couple of hours, it's going to be New Year's, and I feel like I want to try to turn this car on before the New Year's. We have 7 hours ish, and realistically there's not much left to do other than put in some oil, do the wiring inside the fuse box area, program the ECU, and connect the battery. Let's do that. I'm gonna go ahead and put oil in here so I don't forget later. Got that red zone funnel. Click the link in the description below if you guys are trying to get one, because if you got hands that fumble like me, this is going to prevent you from spilling oil trying to fill up your engine. When I went turbo for the first time back in 2010 on my original EF sedan, I've always ran Rotella 1540. All my friends who make big power had recommended this from back in the days, and they still recommend it now. So we're going to be running Rotella in this car. I did buy extra quarts just to fill it up all the way, because this only has 3.7 liters. So for right now, because I don't have the conversion harness for the K series to B series map sensor, I'm gonna go ahead and just plug up my stock K series one right here and just connect that. In the meantime, I believe I have it here somewhere. There it is. I just realized I have a Walbro 450 and the power wire was in the trunk and it's not actually connected to the battery. I just remembered. I just freaking remembered. That's why the fuel pump is not coming on. I don't hear. It's literally right here, and the ground wire as well too. Yeah, I totally forgot about this. Quick little update. You guys saw I put oil in here. I changed out the map sensor. I installed all of the dash harness because I took the dash harness off to repin everything for this cluster. I have this cluster on. Ground for the dash is right there. This one plug, I don't remember if it was open or if it was plugged in. I don't know what it goes for. I don't know where the plug's at, but I ran the dash harness just to have this working and totally forgot about the fuel pump. So let me go ahead and wire that up real quick, and we just loaded up the map, and then we're going to try to fire it over. All right guys, so I got the ground for the fuel pump installed right there. I have this little high tower, and I drilled a hole for a riv nut, and I made sure it was bare metal, bolted it down. That is secured. The power, I extended it right here going to my distribution block. Right now power is on, but the ground is not, just so I can check it in the engine bay. So I'm gonna go ahead and negative, put this on. Fuel pump should prime, and I want to check for leaks. Oh, we got fuel and we are leaking. Is this tightened down? I don't think it is. The good thing is we don't have any leaks anywhere else, so that's good. Just this guy right there. Guys, I made a mistake. I took off that plug when the system was still pressurized, and I busted fuel everywhere. My entire sweater was soaked with fuel, and now I'm really working in the cold here. So the plug wasn't even tight, and instead of putting Teflon on it right now, I'm just going to run a fuel pressure gauge just to make sure the regulator is pressurizing the system where we need it to be. 43 psi, somewhere around there. I want to set base pressure for right now. When my other fitting comes in, which I think is tomorrow, it's going to be a fitting that goes from here, and it has like a little MPT outlet that I can put the fuel pressure gauge there, because right here you can see the regulator is slanted backward so that we don't interfere with the hood. And if I leave the fuel pressure gauge right here, that's going to protrude through the hood itself, so I don't want to deal with that. So just for right now, I'm going to plug this hole with this brand new fuel pressure regulator, just so we can see where the pressure is currently sitting at. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just tap the negative and see where it sits at. That was about 50. I'm gonna go ahead and just turn that out a little bit. It's about 41, 42. I'm gonna crank it in just a smidge. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it down, and we're gonna get ready for our first start here. This car, I've always had issues with turning it on with the ignition switch, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put a push start on the starter and try to crank it over with the button. Make sure the car is in neutral. All right, fire in a hole. there's any check engine lights, but it's just a startup base map. Dude, my cluster works. Let's go. It sounds so good. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, dude. So you guys heard it. The car turned on, and you might have noticed that it was a little choppy on the first start, and after holding the idle for a little bit, the car started like catching itself, and now every time I turn it on, it idle on its own and it revs through perfectly. Now I didn't let it sit on for too long because there's no cooling system, but hopefully the radiator shows up soon so we can button up everything here in the engine bay of the wagon. But dude, I am so stoked. I'm so stoked. This car sat for so long because I kept taking parts off of it for the sedan, do it on the burner, and it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, she's about to be back. If you guys watched the last video, you guys probably saw that I went on a road trip and I picked up something that I teased you guys with, but you guys probably saw in the background. I'm gonna show you guys what I picked up, and these right here, guys, are new to me JDM ITR Recaro seats. They're in pretty clean condition other than a little wear and tear from being in the right-hand drive car, but for the price I got these for, these are freaking in good condition. So this one right here is bagged up because it sits on the floor. Sometimes the cats stay in the garage and I don't want them to sleep all over it, but this right here, guys, this right here is the new seat that we're going to be rocking in this car. Anyways, guys, we're going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoy the progress update on my wagon. Now that the car is turned on, it's just the button up stuff, and hopefully here soon we can finally get it back on the floor. So if you guys enjoyed today's video on my wagon, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for more progress update on my wagon, the garage renovation, I'm gonna do that here real soon, the JDM EF2, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.